Yeah, obviously disappointed.
Recording in progress.
We had high hopes to win this game, and then to lose. I don't need to explain the disappointment for my team. Anytime an athlete puts on a jersey and loses, it's disappointing, and uh, we're disappointed for our fans as well. We wanted to give them a victory here. We were not able to do that. Reasons for that were, I think, a poor first 20 minutes. I also feel Brian's injury put us off rhythm for a few minutes. But we did get ourselves back into the game, and the effort in the second half was very good. I think our best game, best half of the season. Created a lot of chances. We had created chances in the first half too. So really, a game of two halves, if you will. I thought we were very unlucky not to get a point tonight. I think if two calls go our way, you definitely get a point. Maybe you get three. Those calls were very close, and I will review them again, which is why I won't comment on them right now. But from what I understand is that the refs could have called them either way. So we're a little bit unlucky with those tonight.
Thank you, Steve. As a reminder, please raise your hand if you have a question. We can't ask any of our speakers tonight. We'll go ahead and start with Jonathan Siegel.
Hey, Steve. Just wanted to ask about Brian's injury a little bit more in depth. You touched on how that impacted things pretty considerably. How, in your perspective, and what did you see in terms of, it seemed like a rhythm really started to get going in the second half once maybe that disruption kind of took its course?
Sure, we'll assess the injury later tonight and tomorrow to give you some more information. So we'll have to wait a day or two on that and let his body settle down before we make an accurate diagnosis. But Brian's been a big part of our team. And anytime somebody who started every game and played almost every minute goes out early, sure, it changes things. But I think we found rhythm sometime in the first half, and certainly in the second half, we will always miss Brian because he gives something to our attack. He gives us some depth as well and some threats over top. But I think Izzy, when he came on, he did very well. Mahala and Carlos did fine, and Chicho had a very good game when he came in as well. So we have players to come in to affect the game on top if Brian is not involved.
Thank you. Go ahead, Katya.
You talked about the team's reaction from the season, but what do you feel is missing aside from what happened with Brian to be able to start games in a stronger way?
Look, this team, I've spoken about it before, this team has character. And they're a great group of guys. They don't like to lose. And, they found themselves in preseason at some point. This group found a way um, to be a strong group, to be a family. And I think you saw that in the reaction. And this is what I reminded them at half. This is what I told them after the game. If we're going to take anything from this game, it is that we need to put games on our terms and play our football, because when we do, we're pretty good.
How much does a game like this help when there's high emotions, but when things cool down to look at what happened and then try to work from that?
Can you repeat the first part of your question? It was a little hard to understand.
Can you hear me there?
Yeah.
I think that when everything cools down, just having this high emotion and high intensity game, so much of it helps be where the team is at and keep on working with the idea that you want to
Um, yeah, the time off helps. I think more emotionally than physically. I think guys are physically in a very good spot to push games. I think we saw that tonight, that we're able to run for 90 minutes and push games and push tempos of games. Um, so I think physically we're fine. Mentally, yeah, an extra day helps this week. But preparation for next week will be very similar to this week. And we will analyze our opponent and get the guys in a position to win the game. Who will be on the field, we'll assess further this week. But what we'll cover this week in training will be more of how we want to play in general at LAFC, and we will get closer to that product again this week in training.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Katya. Go ahead, Jim Alexander.
Yeah, Steve, your first dose of this rivalry, what were your impressions of the intensity and the atmosphere in the stadium and all of that? And do you get the sense that at any time that affects your players, either in terms of ramping up their intensity or in other ways?
I think it's only human that pressure and nerves and an atmosphere like we have today, which I think is amazing. I enjoyed every minute of it. Compliments to all the fans that showed up. 30, 50, 52 were loud and visible. Great atmosphere. I think 25 years ago, if you would have said we had this in a derby, you would have said I'm crazy. So it's just an amazing progression of our sport, and it's great to be part of. But I'm sure it affects both teams, not just my players. I think it affects both teams. I think you saw a lot of cramping going on from players, and that is for sure a sign of exerting yourself, going over the lines, or going over what you can because of the pressure and the nerves. So this took a lot of both teams physically and mentally, but I think it's great, and I can't wait for the next one.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next question from Andy Diosa.
Hey Steve, obviously falling behind early is tough, but for what you guys have experienced this season, halftime adjustments have been so big for you. What did you see as a switch to kind of change that second half and kind of swing momentum in your favor?
What happened in the first half? I think we got off to a great start. Had some good chances after winning balls in their half, pressing high, and then for some reason we dropped off a little too deep, and we're not able to get enough pressure on the ball. Got ourselves in some bad situations in two pretty soft goals from our perspective. So just a little bit of lack of concentration and awareness in the box, where you have to be fully concentrated and aware. And after that, we started to continue to press a little higher and got a few more chances, hit the post. So the guys figured it out within the middle of the first half, and then really poured it out in the second half. So was happy with their effort, not with the finishing tonight or the officiating, but I was happy with our effort.
Next question from Rodrigo Serrano. Rodrigo, can you hear us? Go ahead. We will come back to him. Last question from Gio Garcia.
Hey Steve, obviously it was a very thrilling match there at the end. What explanation did the ref did they tell you on that final call? Because it looked like you guys had tied the game, and so what explanation did they give you on that final call?
I didn't get one. I'm assuming they thought it was offsides.